Hey everyone, Paul Daniels here again with another attempt at what I fix daily. Been a little bit quiet this week, just with other things and some impossible projects that I wasn't able to get anywhere with. A bit of frustration there, but that's the way it goes, yeah. Sometimes you win, sometimes, well, a lot of times you don't. So what we have here is a Lenovo, trying to think what model this one is, IdeaPad 100S, and it's come in with the complaints of being extremely slow, more than it should be, like taking quite a long time just to respond to key presses. One of the issues I can immediately spot is we've got a breakage here, sort of like, the person does know about that. So the first thing I'm going to try and work out is, does this actually have a solid state drive, or is this a normal spinning drive? Now if it's a spinning drive, first thing I'm going to suspect is the hard drive giving up on it. So how can I do this? Well, I guess first thing I'd do is just jump into the BIOS and have a look, see what it lists. So we've got the power plug there. Now I'll try and remember what the pass key is on this, and since I don't know, I'm just going to press things randomly between escape, delete, F10, F2. I'm sure one of them will get it. There we go, we're lucky. And what have we got? We've got a 128GB solid state drive, Samsung, MZ, whatever. Alright, well, that kind of kills the fun of it being a hard drive fault, at least initially. What I might do is actually still boot into the testing system and run disk checker. So we'll change the boot mode to legacy. This is always such a pain on these new machines. I've got to, so I can boot from the USB stick, I've got to change over to legacy. I'm sure this will improve in the near future when these USB Linux boot sticks are more in the UEFI. I can't even say that appropriately. Yeah, when they're signed and able to go through, I'll just plug it in my external keyboard and mouse. I generally prefer to use my own. Alright, so that's 10. Hopefully we should boot into the test. As far as I know, this unit does not have a fan, so I'm not expecting to see temperature issues. So there is the possibility that the heatsink may have shifted off or separated slightly from the CPU due to this. I mean, that's quite a severe break off there. And I can see it on here, so it's like being crushed from both ends. Why have you booted into that? Sure, we're not getting a boot. Okay, sometimes it's a USB stick, so I've got an alternative one here, different system. So here we go with that. This one is System Rescue, 64-bit Linux. I don't use it as my first preference because I haven't got all the tools I want on it that I normally use. But if the Ubuntu based one just locks up, which does seem to happen a little more than I would like, then this is our fallback. I use -X on DD Rescue because it makes it exit out as soon as anything goes wrong, because there's no point going beyond the first error when you're just testing. Alright, let's have a look. Well, we're averaging, well, it looks like we're heading for about 200 megabyte a second, so it should take about 8 minutes to do this. Well, it looks like our transfer speed's pushed up now to 315 megabyte a second, so I'd be really surprised if it was this at all. While it's doing that, I'll check the temperature sensors. And we're sitting at 59 49 to 59, so yeah, no troubles at all there. Sadly, it looks like this is probably going to be just another really long, boring Windows clean out. I'd say it's infected to the hilt, because this is a school machine. It's more than likely going to be easier for me to actually just factory reset and then update this. I've already been told I can obliterate everything on here and take it back to factory. So in these cases, it is really just simpler to nuke it from orbit and start again. Given that it's got a solid... Yeah, I've very dry mouth at the moment, sorry. Given that it's a solid state drive, it shouldn't take too long. The longer part's simply going to be downloading the updates for Windows, and then making all the little tweaks and adjustments, such as installing Classic Shell, putting Mozilla or Chrome in. Yeah, just small things like that. It is amusing when people ask how much it costs to install Windows these days. They're a little shocked when, in this case, I usually charge about $60, $70 depending. They're shocked because they kind of think, well, don't you just put the DVD in and just let it run? It's like, oh, well, that's just the starting part. You know, after that, you've got to go through all the updates, and like if you're doing a Windows 7, which is quite common, you have to fix the Windows updater itself, put in a couple of patches manually so that it can deal with the fact that there's 200-300 updates to download and install. Or of course there is the what do you call it, convenience roll-up. We're at 382 megabytes a second. Oh, it's only got a little over a minute and a half to go, so I'm just going to sit silent and wait for that to finish. Alright, that's all good. I'm just going to have a look at the disk drive contents and see how much data is in the user directory, user folder. So, current window, mount it read only. Usually with modern laptops it's SDA4. You watch, I'll be wrong. Yeah, I was wrong this time. That's the recovery partition in this case. Okay, we'll make it SDA3. Okay, that's more like it. Disk use, human settings, and we've got 17 gigs in the disk use, so more than likely what I'm going to do as a precaution is I'm going to copy all that data off onto a separate USB stick. Being 17 gigs, it's not going to take long at all, and this does have USB 3, I believe. And not that it matters if it doesn't, I'll still do it. Once that's done, I'll nuke it, and we'll start afresh. Alright, we're back, and let's see, I've got myself a... Well, there goes another crazy guy in his car. This one sounds like he's got a tyre inner tube attached to his exhaust pipe. It makes sort of like a farty noise as it goes past. Rather obnoxious. And he always does it at near midnight or so. I don't know whether he's maybe doing it to piss me off. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, USB data stick. Got it tagged because there are so many USB sticks around here that if I do not tag them, I will lose them. Or rather, I'll find them and I'll not know whose is whose. Something I have to be quite pedantic about these days because I've got enough projects going on at once that tend to be open jobs for a week or two, and I've had some really close calls with completely stuffing things up, all because I forgot whose stick is what. So yeah, it's part of the fun of business, making sure you keep track of everything. It uses up more time that you want to be stuffing around fixing things, but if you get things wrong it costs you money and a hell of a lot more time. Okay, make the whoops. So this is not my usual boot stick, so I'm a little bit clumsy with it. Okay, this should just do it. Copy from Win. Users. Why is there a second one there? Ah, right. Users to USB. There's about 17 gigs in there. We're just going to copy that across. Like I said, the person has said they're happy to have the data wiped out and everything, but I do fair warn you, if you are going to be doing these sort of jobs, even when someone tells you it's okay to delete the data, make a backup of it, because the number of times in the past that I've had people go, oh, actually I wanted this, yeah, it happens too often to not do backups. You can sometimes obviously do a recovery just by undelete or using photo rec, but it's really not the nice way to do things. So in this case, it's like 17 gigs, whatever it was. Such a small amount of data, really. Wait half an hour, copy it across, give yourself peace of mind, and then a week later, after the job is done, then you can wipe it out and use it again. And of course, if they do that, you can always go, well, yeah, sure, I can get your data back and charge them a little bit more for the mistake of their side. And oh, look at that, Fast and Furious 7. Oh well, what a waste of solid state drive. Okay, I'm going to leave this and I'll be back when it's done. Okay, we're back. We've got everything copied, so now I can, let's see, a bunch of symbolic links can't be created, that's okay. Unmount the USB stick, and we're going to reboot. Now, because the system does actually boot into Windows already, we can use that to commence the factory reformat, rather than having to go in and try it using a recovery boot stick or anything like that. Probably going to complain because I'm on non-UEFI. No, there it goes. Some machines I find, if you've got it on CSM boot, they'll complain they will not boot Windows 8 or anything else more recent. I don't know why that is. As far as I understood it, they should all be able to. But that's the way it goes. Hold down the Shift key, click Restart, and hopefully this will give us, yep, that's what we want. Let's see, troubleshoot, reset the PC, remove everything. See how this goes. I will admit it is nice with the laptops that there is the recovery petition at the end of the drive that lets you just simply factory reformat everything. I know the desktops sometimes have a bit, when you get generic desktops, obviously they tend not to have that. The downside I find though of doing these factory setups is of course all the bloatware that gets put in on it. So it's probably going to take half hour to reformat this and reassert the image, but it's going to take me an hour to get all the software set up, all the bloatware removed, and getting back to let's see, just remove my files. Now as far as I understand it, and I'm quite possibly wrong here, when it says just remove my files, I think it just formats the actual drive, quick format. When it says fully clean the drive, it actually will go along and overwrite all the bytes of data with some other random pattern. It's kind of like if you did a DD rescue from device 0 to the entire drive. In this case, because it is going back to the same customer, I can just do a remove my files. The other advantage of the fact that we do a just remove files option, given that this is going back to the customer, is that in the odd impossible but likely chance that I have missed something that's not on this stick, or something changes, I can always go back and recover the files. Even though they're not available in the file system even as undeletable files, they're still going to be there on the disk, and they will be able to be picked up using tools like PhotoRec. Okay, what have we got here? Ready to go. Blah blah blah. Yep, all good. It really is surprising how long the process of reformatting these machines takes. Like I said before, the core part of it is quite quick, but it's all the jumps in between and the cleanups, the updates, all that sort of thing. So if you're charging something like $60 to do a job like this, you really are not making any money above and beyond your normal rate. In fact, you're probably losing money. But it's one of those situations where the customer or your clients won't accept paying anything more than that. So you have to make that compromise or go, well, okay, look, it's a low intensity type job. It's not overly difficult. It's just long and boring. So hopefully you can interleave it with a bunch of other work that you're doing, and the $60 that you charge, even though it may actually take you about 2-3 hours contact intermittently, you're sort of still getting something out on top. So I'm going to leave this go, and when it's finished we'll go through the process of purging out all the junk, which I believe these ones will have, because it's not the professional model or anything like that. I suspect the Lenovo is going to be full of all their crapware. I guess we'll find out when we get back. Alright, we're finally back with the machine after it's done its factory reset, and seems like I've got a few ants have decided to come out of the machine. That's interesting. Alright, poor Australia, all the way at the end of the list. Oops, that's not what we want. Gotta make sure you turn off all these things that you don't want. So much data sent off to other places, and even if you don't care about the data itself, there's just, if you're on a limited line, like a lot of us are here in Australia, you don't want everything being consumed by something that's not what you're doing. It's interesting, they've changed the ordering around on that one compared to what I'm used to. I don't know whether it's just something specific to Lenovo or what. Or maybe it's because it's Windows. I think this is Windows 8.1. I actually really don't know. My goodness, these ants are bad. There must be something. I'm pretty sure these are actually ants from this house, but there must be some reason that they're approaching this laptop. At this point I have to say that the solid state drive has been quite a disappointment. It has not been as quick as I thought it would be to reinstall. The wonderful make it yours Microsoft. No thanks, we'll just create a local account and no password, no Cortana, and no Lenovo crap. I'm going to have to check to see why these ants are hanging around this laptop. I can see some liquid spill type marks, so it won't be entirely surprising if I find some sort of it may have been juice or soft drink that got spilled on it at some point, but it's really drawn these ants out. I mean, ants are always a problem around here. It's just the nature of this environment. I mean, I've got snakes, I've got possums, I've got kangaroos, I've got echidnas, all sorts of birds, no shortage of lizards and insects every night, every day. So yeah, seeing ants around isn't unusual, but the fact that they're all just conjuring around here does give me pause for thought. Alright, it's 1:45 in the morning, and finally this thing has decided it's ready for us to use it. And by use it, I mean remove all the trash that these laptops come with. By the way, if you haven't come across it in the past yet or whatever, if you right click on the Windows menu icon here, the start icon, whatever you want to call it, it will give you access to all the things that you're usually used to, like task manager, control panel. It's just one of those quick little things that are usually overlooked. I do wish Windows had the option to select multiple items to remove without having to do them individually. Oh, Microsoft Office, you can go. Still waiting for the old one to finish being removed. It's interesting, I asked for Cortana not to be on, and what do we have here? No thanks, Cortana. Something's certainly lagging here. That is a bit of a concern. Ah, finally, it's out of the way. The reason why I'm removing Office is because this is not the full version of Office. It's just simply a demo, 60-day, whatever. Survey Monkey. Seriously? No thanks. So a lot of these new things that Intel are pushing out that I'm not sure if they're complete functionality or what their point or purpose is. Things that get me a lot. We've got here the ProSet Wireless. It's 290 megabytes. That's just ridiculous. And I know there's printer driver packages, they're not actually the driver, but the packages. 250 megs just for the download, some ridiculous sizes. Very curious to see how quick this goes. Not as quick as I was hoping. For a solid state, this thing runs about as quick as a hard drive. This is one of those interesting displays where when you look at it, you can actually see fine lines in between the pixels or groups of pixels. I don't get anyone complaining about it, but it's something that I notice, and I don't have the best of vision anymore, being in my mid-40s, but that would just drive me insane. I mean, maybe it's an artifact, but as in of the image itself, but I've seen it on plenty of laptops. In the older style laptops, there used to be a bad run of 45-degree banding that you could see. Most people didn't notice it until it was pointed out to them, and then it pretty much tortured them from there, and they thought it was faulty or something like that. And unfortunately, it was just the nature of the panel itself. I have myself a 24-inch desktop display that does exactly that. It sort of irks me, but yeah, you just live with what you got. So here we go, we've got almost 100 gigs free of 117 gigabytes, so we've used up a bit over 17 gigs with the Windows installed. From here, I'm just going to install something like Classic Shell, Mozilla Firefox, Adobe Reader, and a couple of other small utilities, and then of course copy the files back that we put on to the USB stick, and it'll be ready to go. Well, as you can see, this is why it's so boring doing these jobs, but it's something you got to do, and just make sure you charge appropriately for it. Even if people think it should be a simple task, they're right, it is a simple task, but it's long and boring, and it does take up your time. So just because it's simple doesn't mean you can't charge for it. Anyway, that'll be the end for me tonight. I appreciate you watching, and hopefully next time I'll actually have something more interesting like electronics repair. Until then, have a good one.